Hello, property nomads. Hope you're well. UK Housing Economics 101. Mentioned it in the last episode. This episode is just going to be very brief and it's going to give you a very simple overview of the UK housing market. Some of this stuff you probably already know anyway, but it's important to fill in the narrative purely because sometimes a lot of people can get either misunderstand things or just get lost in the mainstream media narrative that they see all of the time. But in a nutshell, it goes something like this. Supply of property in the UK is much, much lower than the demand for housing. That could be buying houses, that could be renting houses. Now, that has been going on for a long time in this country, and the chances are that is going to go on for a very, very long time in this country as well. Now, it's very easy to chuck your toys out the pram and say, well, migration's too high and this is too high, and we allow anyone in, and all these migrants are, they're the ones that are causing all this. Let me stop you there. Completely disagree with that. There was a study 4 or 5 years ago that said even if the UK had decreased its net migration down to zero, i.e., it did not allow a single person in for anything whatsoever, then something daft like it would still take 20 or 30 years for the supply of housing to meet demand. Such is the imbalance between the two at the moment. You would need zero migration, immigration, etc., for 20 years or so. So before people get on their sort of migrant high horse and sort of beat them with a stick, these are far more fundamental issues than that. Now, whatever government's in charge, Labour, Conservative, whatever, I'm not convinced they're going to make a difference, because the fundamental challenges we've got with housing here in UK is not enough to get in built. Now, there's multiple reasons for that. Maybe interest rates are too high. Maybe the cost of building is too high. Maybe there's not enough profit there for people to be able to do that. Maybe there is. Maybe all these bigger companies are just land banking, which is something governments have wanted to get rid of. Maybe smaller developers are just getting blown out of the water by bigger developers. And maybe there's a lot of shady stuff going on at the higher echelons of property development that you and I are not privy to. You also get this idea that government might want to introduce A, B, and C at a macroeconomic top-down level, and then you get members of parliament or local councils that disagree with that, or that will refuse planning permission for all sorts of daft reasons, as you've probably been privy to, or someone in your property network that has had to deal with local councils on various almost laughable things. So we could be in a situation where government at the top end is going, yep, ABC, this is absolutely fine, let's do this. And then you get down to local level and they completely disagree with the policy and they don't like it, and they put red flags in the way, and let's not do this, we're not doing this because of X, Y, and Z. The next episode that we do, there's well, it might have been in the last episode, the government have said one thing, and one of their own constituents for South Cambridgeshire, I think it is, has completely gone against it, doesn't like it. No more developments here because of the Environment Agency say they don't want it. So you almost can't win. But that's subtracting away from the topic. The supply of rental property in this country is a lot lower than the demand for rental property. Why? Because of various government policies over the last couple of years. More and more landlords are selling up, because being a landlord, a small scale landlord, is just becoming not profitable. Rising interest rates as well don't help. More and more red tape and regulation doesn't help. So landlords have been selling up. The challenge with that is the people that have been buying those properties are first-time buyers and people that just want to move home. So therefore, your supply of rental property is going downhill, whereas demand is increasing or at least staying the same. So therefore, rental prices go up, rental supply goes down. So economics 101, of course, rental prices are going to go up. It's simple economics. The same to an extent with house prices. Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a correction at the moment. And we've said that for the last couple of years. I still maintain there's going to be a nasty, nasty recession moving forwards, but we're seeing a bit of a correction in the housing pricing at the moment. Let's look at the housing supply. Housing supply is a lot lower than demand. And if that's the case, again, a 3-year-old can tell you that prices will go up. If supply is restricted or supply of something decreases or demand completely outmatches the supply of something, prices will go up. There you are. Of course, we're boosted by inflation as well. So no wonder we're, in some areas, house prices have gone up and then they're starting to correct slightly. But these are very simple factors. And these are things that this is the whole point of doing this episode, is to drum it into yourself and myself as well, because we need to remind ourselves of this, because it's fundamental. That, yes, there's a lot of mainstream media bashing out there. Yes, there's a lot of landlord bashing. There's a lot of developer bashing. And the very, very simple thing is demand for housing, demand for people that want to buy housing, and demand for people that want to rent. The demand is much, much, much higher than the supply. That is not going to change in your lifetime. That is not going to change in my lifetime. So from a landlord point of view, from a development point of view, we are in the right sphere. We definitely are, because the demand is not going to drop off anytime soon. The supply is not going to get any better anytime soon, regardless of what government comes in and what policies they implement. You're never going to make everyone happy. And at the moment, you're never going to make anyone happy with whatever's going on. But the key thing is this: please take this away from this podcast and take this away for your property business moving forward. Supply of housing, whether you're building or whether you're renting, supply is going to be much, much lower than the demand. Demand is going to be much, much higher than the supply. End of podcast. We will see you in the next episode.